You had the facts, you had the logic, you were right, and you still lost. You walked away exhausted, angry, and with nothing changed. That feeling of being right but losing, that is the lie that costs you everything. The real reason you lose arguments, even when you're technically correct, is that you're playing the wrong game. You're treating a strategic conversation like a street fight. Winning an argument has nothing to do with proving your point and everything to do with achieving your objective. The strategic paradox is this: to win, you have to stop fighting first. You need a system that replaces emotion with strategy. Today, you're getting the professional's conflict system, the RISA framework, a four-rule filter that replaces emotional chaos with unshakable strategic control. Have you ever walked away from an argument feeling like you won the facts but lost the war? Let me know in the comments with one word: exhausted. Rule 1: the alignment check. What game are you actually playing? The first and most critical rule is the alignment check. Before you say a single word in disagreement, you must answer one strategic question: are both players actually playing the same game? Most arguments fail before they even start because the objectives are misaligned. There are only three types of arguments: arguments to learn, arguments to persuade, and arguments to punish. The learning argument is a collaborative search for truth. The persuasion argument is a negotiation to change a mind. But the punishment argument, that's where someone just wants to hurt you, to prove their superiority, or to vent frustration. That's not a game you can win. The moment you spot a punishment argument, characterized by personal attacks, goalpost shifting, and a refusal to engage with logic, your only winning move is to exit immediately. Engaging just supplies them with ammunition. We all have that one person who only argues to drain us. What's the one tell you use to spot a punishment argument? Drop your red flag in the comments. The power move here is to force the other person to state their intention before the debate begins. You create a contract, and you do it with a single question that exposes the underlying motive. You ask, point blank, what do we want from this conversation? Are we trying to find the best solution, or are we just trying to score points? This single question is your instant power shift button. It forces the conversation out of the emotional gutter and onto a track you control. I watched this play out in a team meeting where a colleague kept shooting down every proposal with vague criticisms. When someone finally asked, "What outcome are you hoping for here?" he admitted he just wanted to prove the original plan was flawed. That was the game. The catastrophic cost of misaligned objectives is the slow, sinking feeling in your stomach when you realize they aren't listening. They are just reloading. You end up exhausted, not because you lost the point, but because you were fighting a battle where the only goal was to drain you. Rule 2: the reality filter. Are you fighting a ghost? Once you've confirmed you're in a game worth playing, you deploy the reality filter. This is where you ask, is this disagreement even real, or are you just fighting a ghost? The vast majority of arguments are not substantive clashes of principle. They are simple vocabulary mismatches. You're using the same words to mean completely different things. Freedom, respect, fairness. These are conceptual minefields. We used respect as an example. What's the word you argue about most often? Tell me below. This leads to the listening paradox. To win an argument, you must first be able to articulate the other person's position better than they can. Your goal isn't to find the weakest version of their argument to tear down. It's to do the opposite. It's to build up the strongest, most coherent version possible. This is the strongest version principle used by champion debaters. Think about two people arguing about respect. One feels disrespected because meetings never start on time. The other feels disrespected because their ideas get dismissed without consideration. They're using the same word to describe completely different needs. By respectfully strengthening their case, you accomplish two things. First, you earn the emotional currency of trust. Watch the look on their face when you articulate their point better than they could. That moment of genuine, surprised respect. That's the emotional currency you earn. Second, and more importantly, you force the disagreement to be about the core issue, not a misunderstanding. If their argument falls apart, even at its strongest, you've truly won. If it doesn't, you've just identified the actual, real point of contention. How do you practice this? Use the side switch exercise. Before you respond, take a literal piece of paper and write down the 3 to 4 best arguments for the other side. Argue against that stronger version. This isn't about being nice, it's about being effective. A tech company used this strategy when debating whether to launch a new product. The lead engineer was told to build the strongest possible case for why it would fail: security risks, market saturation, development costs. When the team addressed those fortified arguments, they either built a bulletproof plan or realized the product shouldn't launch. It's the difference between swatting at a shadow and disarming the real threat. When you distinguish real disagreement from semantic confusion, you stop wasting time on phantom battles and start making progress on what actually matters. The side switch exercise is a game changer. If you're going to try this, type side switch in the comments right now as a commitment. Rule 3. The focus equation, choosing your battles. Wisely now, let's talk about the most overlooked rule, the focus equation. This is where intelligence and wisdom diverge. Intelligence is the ability to respond to any argument. Wisdom is knowing that responding to everything is a trap. You have to understand the energy economics of conflict. Every argument, even a productive one, has a cost. It drains your focus, your emotional bandwidth, and your time. The goal isn't to win every possible point, it's to win the points that matter. This leads directly to the unruly mass problem. When you start one disagreement, you open the door to every other potential disagreement between you and the other person. Unless you are surgically specific, the argument can balloon from, "I think we should take a different route," into a fight about your sense of direction, your decision-making history, and your general competence. Think about a couple arguing about being 15 minutes late for dinner. Without focus, that becomes an argument about respect, then about reliability, then about that time last month, then about fundamental character flaws. That's how a simple discussion becomes an all-consuming, unwinnable war. If you've ever had a discussion about the dishes turn into a fight about your life choices, you know this problem. This is the unruly mass problem, and it's the reason you walk away feeling exhausted and defeated. Hit the like button if you recognize this in your own life. The solution is the specificity requirement. Before you engage, you must lock down the scope. You make the contract even tighter. You say, "Okay, we're aligned on finding the best solution." Now, let's agree we're only talking about the financial impact of this decision for the next quarter. We are not talking about long-term strategy or team morale right now. You are building a fence around the disagreement. This prevents the conversation from spilling into unrelated territory. And when the other person inevitably tries to expand the debate, when they say, "Well, this is just like that time you have a contract enforcement technique that lets you shut down the distraction without getting defensive. You don't get defensive. You simply point back to the agreement. You say, "I understand that's a concern, but remember, we agreed to focus only on the financials for quarter 2. Can we table that other point for later?" The tone is calm and factual, not confrontational. You're not dismissing their concern. You're honoring the boundary you both set. This isn't avoidance, it's strategic discipline. It doesn't just keep the conversation productive. It saves you hours of wasted time and emotional recovery by preventing it from collapsing under the weight of every unresolved issue you've ever had. That phrase, I understand that's a concern, but we agreed to focus only on X, is your shield. Pause the video right now and write that down. Seriously. You will need it. The strategic advantage. So here's the strategic advantage you now have. Arguments are no longer emotional roller coasters. They are systems. Imagine the calm you'll feel when the argument starts to spiral, but you have the mental checklist to pull it back. No more sleepless nights replaying the conversation. Just clarity, control, and the strategic advantage. You check for alignment first, because fighting a punishment argument is like trying to fill a bucket with a hole in it. You check for reality, because arguing with a phantom is a waste of your energy. You apply the focus equation, because winning the right battle is more important than fighting every skirmish. Remember that feeling of walking away, exhausted, angry, and with nothing changed. That ends now. The key takeaway is this. You let go of the need to be right in order to actually get what you want. This system isn't just about winning arguments. It's about winning back your peace of mind. Your homework is to test the alignment check this week. Before you engage, ask that single question and come back to this video and tell me what